I just plugged in one of them, I saw there were two in the back. Yeah.
Default way. We'll be starting in a moment. A little perspective. But we're not really packed the train in terms of this evening's agenda. So we're not going to be rushing through things anyway.
Just want to check first.
You know how it works.
Yeah.
We're all in the studio.
Hey, John, how's it going? So, Alex is here. We're ready to get the Yana.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, not bad. I suppose.
Yeah.
This is going to be the little comments thing that I'm seeing with frankly some blank things, just so it looks like people are putting
Okay.
together.
Okay, right on. Are you thinking, so what's your idea? Suggestions for like the meeting itself? Like
I mean, I listed just as you have ideas, comments, requests, what you want to see at the Harwood Community Association. So it's literally everything. I'm and John are going to talk a little bit about usually community resource stuff. We've got someone from the Waverly Community Bridge agreed to come and talk about it. Oh my God! Thank you. I needed a beer. Cheers. And I'm going to talk a little bit about
yeah.
things. Also, I run the Multiple Heroes Board. If you want to, I'll say it when I go. But we've got these cards that are sort of like liberation rights cards that people can take. KYR. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, just speak with you or answer questions.
Oh, hey, man. How are you doing?
Good. That worked good. I was not around that day, and I just saw a message on ours with the white kid there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's working progress, but you know, it's getting there.
Are you recruiting more people, or just people setting up more?
What do you mean? Like,
Recruiting for people for tasks specifically, or people setting
well,
up?
this is the community association, so we're technically separate. But like, yeah, I mean, I've just been doing that garden as like a side project. I didn't know how much like time or energy I had this year, so I'm really like doing it. But totally, like, if there's stuff you want to do, you know, it's around. I'm basically always out there when I'm not doing something in the evening. So, also, I always post in the garden. I like your specifically. So, yeah, I'll try to post more consistently when I go over there. My running idea right now is to keep the hacks that there is right now, like the garden, and make the other half like a little bit of like a seating area. Just because there's no park over there. So it'd be nice to have like a little free space. So it's like ice that's coming off landscaping fabric. You can place it if you would like it. Just make sure you let it. All you can do is cut a little slice. The reason I covered it is because it's to control the heat. Exactly. Especially now, it's super. Yeah, it's super good for flames. So that works out negatively in this case.
You should check.
Yeah.
Exactly. So exactly. It's going to be for my garden.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It's a lot of fun. What I'm thinking, there's a lot of wood chips over there still, so I may just spread the wood chips on the other half. But we'll see. I'm looking it over in my head. But yeah, if there's things you want to plan, go ahead and plan it out. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Of course. Of course.
Greg is outside. Greg, you want to
Miraculously, none of them still.
This is Zach's idea. I'm getting fed a question to put into the box.
Good evening. We're going to start in just 1 minute as folks have started to settle. Just 1 more minute and we will be on the road. Okay, dear neighbors, if we could settle in. As I said before, we are not on a super tight schedule, so we're not going to be driving through this at high speed, which will give us the opportunity for some good conversation. Unfortunately, Greg, who is going to be the facilitator for the evening, is a little under the weather, so I'll be stepping in. And actually, I'm just going to start off with a very brief overview. The community agreements, these are community agreements that we drew up about 2 years ago when we were getting the board started shortly after COVID. We have 5 agreements. We can continue to work on these if need be, but these are the general sort of agreements that we work by as we operate these meetings. First of all, one expression. As I said, this is not going to be a overly densely packed meeting. Nonetheless, we don't want to just use time for the sake of using time. So say what needs to be said and then step back. Also respectful sharing, listen deeply. So try to avoid crosstalk. Respect the meeting's time constraints. We want to respect you. We want to be finished at 8, no later. And so just be respectful of the fact that we're trying to make sure that your time is appreciated. So do the same for the folks that are with you here in the meeting. Trust and be accountable to these community agreements. We're all in this together. If they work, we can make this all work and work well. And then the other thing is that step up, step back is something we say. And that means that challenge yourself to do whatever feels a little uncomfortable. If you are not somebody who often shares, maybe step forward a little bit. Say a little bit more than you would ordinarily, and vice versa. If you're somebody who loves to talk, I know the feeling, practice stepping back for a minute, because when we allow space for other people, we oftentimes hear things we wouldn't otherwise hear. On that note, before we get into the meat of the meeting, I'm going to turn it over to Zach. Zach, who is one of our board members at large. Before I do, though, I just want to highlight this is streaming. So if you are not comfortable with being on camera, don't walk in front of the camera. That mostly applies to you guys who are, I think, maybe, vaguely on the periphery of being on camera. Nonetheless, just be mindful. We are streaming live, and we want to respect people's anonymity if they don't want to be on camera. With that, Zach, take it away.
So let's just do a quick icebreaker sort of thing to get us started with the meeting. I'm sorry I'm going to put ball on this bottle a little bit. What I was going to say is share something you might be willing to share about something in the community you've enjoyed recently or are looking forward to. For me, I went to the 26th Street flower markets last weekend and bought some plants that I should have spent money on and I don't know how to take care of, but they're very pretty. And I'm looking forward to finally being a part of the year where it's actually really nice for like a month and a half to sit on your front porch, and mostly right before it gets horrible to do that. Anyone else has something they would share about the community? Savannah?
There was a Holy festival for, the Indie Festival of Holy at the Dell yesterday. It was like really fun to go run with colors. It's my first time going in the entire decade plus I've lived here. Super fun. Highly recommend going next year because it is free and fun.
That's Savannah letting you know that in a year you can go to something in the Dell.
Yeah, Indian.
Anybody else?
I saw my first groundhog in 2025.
Whoa.
Here in Baltimore?
Yeah, so because the CSX construction, they come up out of that ravine and just chomp on grass. If you're along 26th, you can often see them usually around like, say 4 to 6 p.m. somewhere in that window.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for sharing.
They're big.
Groundhogs.
I wanted to acknowledge CSX for the civil engineering seminars that they're putting on now. It's fascinating to watch. I have no idea what they're doing, but you can stand there. I love my retired, look like I'm doing work, but it's just an amazing process. I have no idea how this is all going.
I sometimes get sense they don't either, but I'm glad you learned something.
I hope CSX knows how to do it.
All right.
It's interesting you say that because similarly on Whitbridge, watching the repaving process, although I will say they seem to be moving a bit quicker than CSX. They have like 3 different skid steers moving in very tight synchronization. I was very impressed. I'm guessing they're getting paid by the job rather than by the hour. They are moving quickly. And I do appreciate it.
And I keep waking up late in the morning and finding my car is covered in all sorts of dust that has not been crushed by machinery. So I appreciate that. One last contribution and then we'll get to the meeting. Anyone?
I don't even think I'm really adding anything more acknowledging and aggrandizing Flower Mart. That was awesome. I got to be there during a bubble-a-thon, and I got to participate in blowing very many bubbles, and it was a great time. I had so many. I also bought way too many plants that I told myself I wasn't going to buy at all. And just completely, especially in this political climate and just in this era of our great nation, it's been really cool and affirming to be part of this community and to run into all of you and feeling like at least our little pocket is doing okay.
All right, I think the ice is broken. Thank you, Christian, for that very sweet end note. And I'm kind of back, guys.
So, this is just updates and report backs on some of the things that happened this past week. We like to let you know that we are always doing things, and things are always happening. In particular, from my side of things, the community garden, on the 13th, we had our early spring planting, which was a huge success. The garden looks fantastic. Thanks entirely due to the efforts of our volunteers, people who just go down there and just work their butts off, and it looks fantastic. And there's another planting coming up. I will talk about that in the upcoming events section. But before we do that, I also want to recognize Izzy, who completely on his own recognizance organized the spring cleanup for our neighborhood. The mayor did the citywide spring cleanup.
Well, thank you.
You want to say a few words? You want to call forth on what a resounding success it was?
Oh yeah, we collected like I'm gonna take I have feedback in my ear because I'm listening to this room. So we collected 16 big bags of trash that DPW picked up, and despite the bad weather, a lot of people, like a good handful of people turned out. So thanks for that. The neighborhood was all nice and cleaned up, and we had a good time. Honestly, it was pretty chill. So just hanging out in the garden all morning. So yeah, thanks for letting me do that.
Thank you for doing it.
What?
Harwood Park redesign, we've been doing some ongoing work with the Neighborhood Design Center. Savannah, Adam, one of you guys can say a couple quick words about where we are as far as that goes?
Yeah, really quickly, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Neighborhood Design Center just this morning. They're going to work with us on a design for that park, and they're specifically going to work with us on getting feedback from the neighborhood and then iterating on that design based on that feedback. So
This is the 27th Street Park, the swings and slides. We think it needs to be upgraded.
yes, there's been a bit of a process. Thank you to Councilwoman Ramos for helping wrangle Parks Department that we met with last year. We have their support for a redesign, but what they want from us is what should that design look like? And so we partnered with the Neighborhood Design Center to come up with that design. They've got volunteer designers on staff who will work with us to create that and iterate on it over the next few months. So look out for communications from us, looking for feedback on that, and with potential design ideas that we'll be putting forward to everybody in the community for feedback.
Yeah. And definitely, yeah, I think from my understanding, we'll also be doing some like on the street, like talking with neighbors and stuff. So if you do see people from the Neighborhood Design Center, definitely give them the feedback that you have about it because that's what they're there for.
Yeah, and to that point, if you're talking with neighbors, feel free to bring up, there is a redesign happening there. So if you want to try to get their feedback and bring it to us, we're happy to get that too, even kind of secondhand. We won't be able to talk to everybody. So as people who come to these kinds of events can bring that information forward, that's going to be helpful.
And also we did get an update that the concrete where there's like that slight pit, sinkhole deal, is going to be being removed probably by the end of the month, is from my understanding. Either by the end of May or in June. They're just waiting on someone to...
They were getting bids. They were getting bids for the removal, and there was still a little bit of consternation about what are they going to put there, because we need that traction.
Reseeding.
They're going to just reseed.
Yeah. Was there an update on the quote? We just didn't run the bid, sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a meeting with Rec Parks again this week or next week, my regular meeting with them, so I'll check in, but I wouldn't say that it's happening in the next 2 months. It might take a little longer, because we're just getting bids and then going through the process takes a minute, but the concrete's coming out, and then we see it, so there'll be grass there.
Thanks.
And when I get a better sense of time, I'll make sure.
And that kind of fell under maintenance, so we were really pushing on maintenance that they could just kind of fix some of the basic broken stuff. We'll do the redesign in addition to that. We'll hopefully take out a lot more concrete, but we'll all hear more about that soon.
No, actually, that, what are they gonna do? If they once we fix the sinkhole, are they just gonna cement it over again?
No, there's grass.
They're gonna do grass.
Grass. Yeah, when I said, I wanted to be clear that they are reseeding and they're not gonna put sod, okay? So they're gonna put seeds and hay and then it'll grow. So it's not like a fancy, like, sod thing. It's like literally putting, yeah.
Grass is fine.
Grass.
It's better than concrete.
Yes.
Or a hole.
Better than a single.
Right.
Well, your attention is on you. Also, the DOT walkthrough, thanks also to attend.
Yeah, so we had a really great walkthrough with Councilwoman Ramos, her staff. Thank you for helping get that organized and off the ground. We walked through with some DOT engineers and community liaisons, and we highlighted things that have been coming up a lot in the community about speeding on 28th, speeding on 29th. So our focus was mostly on 28th and 29th, but we brought up issues on Greenmount, issues around 27th Street, Greenmount particularly. We brought up 25th Street, and we brought up some of the side streets as well. So we have a whole list of things, but I won't bore you with all of the details, but I will tell you that sort of our next steps from that meeting are that the community association is coming up with a list of intersections that would get new crosswalks and new bump outs. If anybody's not familiar with bump outs, it's where you see the little plastic bollards that just kind of bump out into the street, just to narrow the intersections and slow people down a little bit. In the near term, that's what we're going to try to prioritize. The city wants us. My question was, can we do that with every intersection? And the city said, yes, but you need to prioritize those a little bit. So we're coming back to them with a list of prioritized intersections. If anybody at this meeting has a particular intersection that they're particularly worried about, see me after the meeting. We've already got our list, and I can see if we can bump that one up a little bit and highlight some issues. I know only recently we had a hit and run on one of the intersections where people are just driving too fast and hitting parked cars. We don't need that, let alone somebody hitting somebody. That's one of our upcoming next steps that we're going to reach back out to DOT. In addition to that, we're working toward gaining input along 28th Street and 29th Street, but primarily 28th Street along, to find out what do neighbors on that block want to see. Do they want to see something similar to what was done in Remington? Do they want something different? How do we calm the traffic there, but in a way that is palatable to everybody in the community? So our next steps are to reach out to some of the board members and some of the volunteers. We've also spoken with Remington and Charles Village about what has their experience been, and they've offered to send neighbors who live along that stretch in Remington to come and talk with neighbors along 28th Street and say what their experience is like, before and after and during the process of the road guide. So that's a little bit longer out. Again, we'll prioritize getting the crosswalks updated as much as possible, but then we're going to start this process of community feedback around what do we all want to do with 28th Street, particularly the people who live right there. We're going to continue to work with Charles Village Local Benefits District, the Civic Association, and Remington on sort of a holistic approach to calling that corridor, particularly 29th Street. But early feedback, I guess, from the walkthrough was along 29th Street, mark that as a school zone. Along 28th and 29th, try to lower the speed limit to 25 miles per hour instead of 30 like it is now. Get a speed camera added next to the school once that speed limit is lowered. Retime the traffic lights. That's already on DOT's agenda, but we did stop them and say, hey, can we get that time before 25 miles an hour, not 30 miles an hour? So a little bit more work to do there, but they are planning on retiming it sometime. Updating the favorite crosswalks. We also confirmed with DOT that if we want to put planters in those crosswalks, we want to build our own planters or buy planters, they don't mind at all on some of those bump outs. That actually, make people feel a little bit more safe than just the little plastic bottles. So that's something they said we can do. So potentially, as we engage more around this issue, maybe we can actually start organizing that ourselves. Again, highlighted 27th Street and Greenmount. If anybody has ever tried to cross Greenmount south of 28th Street, and they sort of agreed, like, that is pretty hazardous, what can we do about that? Can we do bump outs? Can we do more crosswalks? And so we're going to continue working with them on that. As far as 25th Street goes, that's an ongoing project coming from the east. They're coming from east to west, so they're going to be updating 25th Street anyway. They're going to be repaving, and we should get bump outs along 28th Street. 25th Street. Either. And the issue with the traffic going the wrong way on 27th Street, we brought up, neighbors on the street have talked about wanting that to be two-way. If we want that to be two-way, we need to engage with DOT. They'll come to a meeting. They'll talk to us more about the solution for that. But we definitely highlighted the issue of people going the wrong way down that one way, the 300 block of 27th Street. So they were receptive to that. I think that's it.
Also, we did have a couple of places that we had highlighted that were not like ADA compliant, or at least one corner. If you have a section that you feel is not compliant compliant with that, like, just let us know and we can talk with Coro Debt. We can all.
And that's in terms of like the curb cuts, you know, where like the ramp should be, there's not a ramp, where it's
Yeah, like if you know somebody who is, you know, uses a walker or a wheelchair, or, like I have one, blind neighbor who walks near my house who's having an issue with corner, stuff like that. So,
And so again, if you know that intersection that you're concerned about, seniors, civilians, at the end of the meeting, we're happy to like get that on the list and get it to the test.
This has been a long time coming, and so I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been involved in dragging DOT into these conversations. It's not that they're resistant, they just have a lot, and it's been a challenge to make sure that we're on their list of priorities. Do we, Zach, do you think you can maybe grab an extra couple chairs?
There's a couple in there.
Oh, there are, in that closet right there. Oh, great. Yeah, just because we've got some folks who are standing, and we've got another hour, and you shouldn't have to stand for this. It's not that important. The other thing I will say, as far as updates and report backs, we have made progress. As many of you know, we're working on becoming an official nonprofit organization, 501c3. Last week, we finally filed with the IRS on a federal level, and as soon as they give us their approval, then we can go to the state for our state level approval for 501c3. So we are moving through this. It's happening at the speed of bureaucracy, but it is happening, and it's happening steadily, and that's really encouraging. Thanks to Christian, in particular, our illustrious treasurer, and his persistence in always providing me with documents when I need them. I'm happy to answer any questions about the 501c3 status. It's just not that exciting, and there's really not much else to say. It's in process. It's moving forward. We have a couple of upcoming events. I'm going to flag those. Obviously, if you're not writing these down, you may not remember. We will always make sure that we, as Emmy is currently keeping notes, we do circulate the notes, usually within a few days of finishing the meeting. All of these dates will be on the notes for the meeting. We also try to make sure that they get updated onto our website, thanks to our illustrious secretary. This is a group effort, and I just want to say so appreciative of all the people that make this work. Upcoming events, first of all, May 18th, that is 2 Sundays from now, is our late spring community garden planting. This is the big planting. This is where we put tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, squash, all sorts of stuff. Goes in the ground. It's big, it's fun. We spend about 4 hours at the garden. Everybody hangs out, everybody has fun. There will be a lot less moving of dirt. Thanks to everybody who did move dirt last time around, but we have got all of the soil pretty much sorted. But lots of planting. We will have party favors. Party favors in this case usually means various types of things that you can take home and grow at home. We are also pulling radishes out of the garden now. If you want to go down to the garden and get yourself some delicious radishes, they're nice. They're like the size of tennis balls now. So and so please, visit the garden, take a look at what it looks like. We'll be getting raspberries soon, and maybe even a few blackberries and blueberries if the climate permits. But that's it. May 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Late spring community garden planting. Also, May 31st, our next dumpster day. This is probably the most popular event that we host here at Harwood. We do 4 of them a year. May 31st, which is a Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to noon, we will be in Harwood East, which is, say, the 500 block of 27th Street around the Matthews and 27th intersection. We will have a dumpster for all of your bulk disposal needs. Show up early because it fills up quickly. Usually it's full by like 11 o'clock. So highly recommend that you check that out. If you're not on our WhatsApp group, talk to somebody on the board. We have a WhatsApp channel that provides lots of updates, and also it's a great way to get engaged. and also a great way to communicate with neighbors if you have questions or needs. A couple other farther out items. June 8th is the Charles Village Garden Walk. The Harwood Community Garden will be participating in that. We'll have more information, but also exciting. And then June 28th, this is going to be our first big public event since prior to COVID. We will, on June 28th, be hosting a block party on 27th Street, the 300 block of 27th between Guilford and Barclay, celebrating our very own Dance and Lou, who I think many of you have encountered or have met. Lou is a resident of the neighborhood since 1969. He moved there with his family after he came back from the Vietnam War. Lou is a decorated Vietnam veteran, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and Lou is one of the sweetest and most uplifting people you will encounter. There have been many days where I have been deep in my own head, walking the streets of Harwood, just lost in my own thoughts, and Lou always brings me back and puts a smile on my face, and I know he does that for other people. So we'll be recognizing Lou. In particular, we will be getting one of those red honorary street signs. So for the space of a month, that will be Dancing Lou Lane, and it's going to be great. The party will be, again, June 28th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., including a little recognition of Lou himself as a longtime resident of the neighborhood, and it's just going to be a good time. We're going to try to keep it low key but high energy, if that makes sense. The only other thing I do want to update you on, I had a conversation earlier today. The 29th Street Community Center, which is where we used to have our meetings, they are reopening. They are on track for a late June reopening, which is really exciting because as much as I love it here, as much as I love the fact that we're getting like acoustic 80s ballads sung behind us, yeah, I mean, hey now, the dream is over. But I love it, but the 29th Street Community Center has been an integral partner for Harwood Community Association for a long time. And they're also really important for the community, and having them reopen is going to be great, particularly for the families with kids, because they provide resources and outlets for those kids that we just don't have otherwise. And so they are on track to open late June, which means that probably come August we will be back there for our meetings for the foreseeable future, which is really exciting. And also that means that they can partner with us in upcoming events, which means we also get to bring families with kids more into the neighborhood activities, which is something that I think we are lacking as far as the operations of the community association. The only other thing before we turn it over to some of our guests, we have several guests with some announcements and conversation points. I also wanted to just mention CSX has come up several times. I've been tracking, and if Odette wants to add to this, I just want to say right now, their goal is to be single tracking trains by the end of the year. That means all of the construction should be done within the next several months. It's still a ways away. We understand that, and it is still unpleasant, and it's a pain in the ass, but as far as everything is progressing, it looks like trains will be back up and running probably by November, which means the road will be open, which means we will have all of the equipment gone, or most of the equipment gone. There's a number of issues we are tracking, including restoration of fences and things of that nature. We'll have more updates soon, but I just wanted to make sure that you know they are about a year behind where we thought they were going to be when they first came to talk to us about this, which was 2.5 years ago. But that's fine, things happen, and it's a big project. But it is a royal pain, especially for folks who live down on 26th and on Lorraine and anywhere nearby there when you hear those pumps going continually. Obviously, we can't make them go faster, but it is still encouraging to know that basically by the end of October, early November, by all accounts, the trains will be coming through, and the road will be reopened. I'll try to give you better dates, more dates, as they become available, but I also don't want to make promises, especially for somebody other than myself. With that in mind, we have a couple of different guests, a couple of different folks that are going to be saying some things. First, we're going to hand it over to a rezoning request. Ms. Chestnut and her team come here to talk to us a little bit about the plans for a mental health center on Greenmount, 2533 Greenmount. The scheduled hearing is tomorrow. They pushed it back so that they could come and talk to us since this does fall within our neighborhood. So, Ms. Chestnut, I'm sure you said somebody from your team is going to be able to talk. But Deb, are you going to?
I was just going to clarify, it's not a rezoning, it's conditional use.
Conditional or conditional?
Conditional.
Conditional use. So, shall we get somebody to come up and just say a couple quick words about what this plan is and what it might be for our neighborhood?
Hello, everyone. My name is OC.
Yeah, you might need to calm down.
He's still making up what he's playing. He's still making. I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to be here. Right? I had to go take my nervous walk, right? So like a lot of people can't come out and talk in front of people. And so when I prepare, I have to go out, listen to a little Bob Marley, and then I come back and I'm still nervous, but I can come up here. So thank you for having us. Our intention is to attack some of the crisis that's going on with mental health. We really want to acknowledge that there's lots and lots of treatment places, substance abuse places, mental health places. But what sets us aside different is us. It's our personality. It's our willingness to come up in here and ask you to show favor on us. We will be doing some things that we believe will help our community. It's a dire need for our community and all over the city and the state. One of the things that I did want to point out is that we would be doing appointment only, so that would cut back on traffic, in and out of traffic. We would do, everything would be on site, so we do wrap around care. Mental health is a serious issue. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist, certified here in Maryland. I migrated from Chicago about 7 years, and I've loved it since I've been here. It's one of the few places that you get an opportunity to start over and really do well, and I haven't looked back since. So in this, I just want to let you guys know that at Optimum, we want to service this community. We want to be able to come and let you guys know from month to month what we've done, what we're doing, and what we intend on doing. And any concerns that you may have, be able to address them, show you progress, because we'll be doing things called, it's a new program that they have out here, and it's where my brain just blocked. It's where everybody don't want to stop doing things. Everybody don't want mental health instantly. But when they build trust with us, right? What was a problem yesterday starts to dissolve the next day. And what happens is, it's harm reduction. That's what it is. Harm reduction is one of the things that I push big time, because the same people that's using drugs, it falls under the mental health department. So we attack it as everything is mental health, separate it all, and harm reduction gives people an opportunity to dwindle down substance use and still know that we are there for them. And so we work on reducing it to the point where they see that somebody cares, then we get them further help.
invite them to come to introduce themselves. Just to be clear where we're talking about, it's 2533. So it's on the east side of Greenmount, just south of 26th Street. Okay? And 26th Street, there's some rehab going on there, there's some properties there. And then on the block where they're on is a couple of houses. There's a commercial on the end, and then there's the dollar store. So it's the beige now, right? Beige. So what they're asking for is support for a conditional use. And what that means is that the building is right now zoned residential. And in order to provide any health care or mental health, there has to be approval from the zoning board that says that they can use that space for that use. My process always, for everywhere in the district, is to make sure that the neighbors around get a chance to meet who the applicant is and have a conversation so that we know what's happening and answer any concerns that you might have, questions that you might have. The hearing is scheduled for tomorrow, so this is all kind of last minute. I don't usually do it this way. But the idea is to see if Harwood and Better Waverly, because we have Better Waverly here too, would be okay with this use so that we can write a letter, or I will write a letter of support, you all can write a letter if you want as well, or say nothing and the board will, run the thing. Now, I know that in some neighborhoods there have been challenges with mental health and substance abuse centers, so let's put that out there. There is one already on Greenmount called Caring Hands, which I know we had a lot of discussions with several years ago, and they have been, I think, a good partner and a good neighbor. So it really does depend on the operator when we're talking about these things, because there's such a need for mental health, and not just in our neighborhood, but all over the city. So it's very important that we have this discussion. We already answered a couple of my questions, which is they're doing appointment only, so it's not like people are just going to be walking in, being on the sidewalk all the time, that kind of thing. So appointment only is important. The second is that you've been in business already for how long? Not in that space, but in another space, right? For how long? 2 years. 2 years? 2 years. So they're not new to this work, and we'll be bringing some of their own clients, but also serving the rest of the community as well. I'm agnostic at this point. I just want to make sure you all have all the information and can ask any questions before we have the next steps in the conversation. So, yeah, and then we'll go this way. Go ahead.
Are you guys focusing on clients and folks in this neighborhood and surrounding areas, or are you guys taking people from all around the city?
So we focus on mental health.
Right.
Like, mental health, like some services some people may not get services at another place. We want to make sure we be of service. So if there's someone who's out east, they make an appointment, we set up an appointment, we speak with them, we put a match, we help them. We want to help them.
So everybody knows who I am. My name is Lisa O'Reilly. I'm the treasurer of the Better Waverly Community Organization. Just so to clear up the reason why I'm here is that the city thinks that our boundary is down to 25th on the east side of Greenmount. We think our boundary is into Exeter Hall. So bear with me as I kind of jump between two worlds.
That's why we have these hard
Right.
now.
Right. Thank you for allowing us a few minutes. I lived in Goldman's for 20 years, so I'm kind of a little familiar with some questions. I have some questions for you too. So first of all, what's the name of your grouping? It's called Optimum. Secondly, are you going to be dispensing any kind of Suboxone or methadone, any sort of replacement medication? So you won't have a doctor on site?
We only have medication management. I'm one of the 2 providers, no methadone, but we do prescribe Suboxone.
So the clients are clear about that?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Again, I'll just bring that up because our experience has been when there is a dispensation of medication that attracts other kind of medications. Just leave it at that. Thirdly, what kind of security do you think you might need around there? There is another treatment facility opposite you as well? Do you think you might be saturating the area at all?
So we are not a new practice. We've been in practice for 2 years. And last year we served between 300 and 400 patients, with 90% coming from this area. So we already have a census coming into the area, but as you say, we are here to serve them.
Well, the last question is, are you going to be offering any kind of residential aspects to your program? Is there going to be a renting of housing in the area from your end to bring your clients to from their appointments?
We are not licensed for that. We are
You're
not
not
licensed.
Thank you, Lisa, for bringing your expertise on those questions. Yes.
I think Lisa covered, but so is any medication dispensed at the site?
It said
No license.
Suboxone.
Yes.
It's not dispensed, it can be,
Prescribed, okay, awesome, okay.
So we don't dispense any medications at the centers, but we prescribe them. You need a separate license for dispensing, and we don't have that.
Gotcha, okay, thank you. And then my other question is, when you said harm reduction, does that include needle exchange and that sort of thing?
no.
Okay.
That's not,
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, and thanks for speaking.
what I would like to speak with you.
So the city has a very active legal team program. We were the first in the country to do it in the 80s, as you remember, some of us remember. And there is a whole harm reduction movement happening, which is good. So it has something to do with this, but also sometime in another conversation, we can talk about some of the other harm reduction strategies that are sitting waiting. One of them is those what are called overdose prevention sites, which we're not legally supposed to have by law right at the moment. But I will tell you, I have one in the down below in my district, and I can tell you where. And so, but the reason it's being done, who knows? That's all I'm gonna say. So, this is not it, but I'm just telling you. So, but there's also just in general, it sounded to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of it was building that trust first before being able to, build that. Yep, sorry to take on. But who else had a question? Yes, sir.
Yes, so I have more questions, but in terms of services for the community, we have like recovery groups, HIV education trainings in here, sexual what kind of home services do you provide?
So it'll be initial like contact services. Some of those services are like after like additional programs that you bring in, when you in. But see, people come in, it'll be one-on-one contact, some group therapy maybe. But initially they'll see myself and Ms. Chester. Yeah, it'll be one-on-one contact with myself and Ms. Chester.
So, what type of people would you talk to? Would it be general mental health situation? We have different subsets, like different disorder. Which are different. It's a shitty one.
Well, I don't know if you heard, we have a larger population that she serves already in this community. So we want to make sure that they know that we have a foundation in the community and that we can make contact more and more with them. And start with those and work our way out. She has.
I was just wondering, are you guys gonna be connected with the Baltimore harm reduction group that they're down on North Avenue? Just a potential networking thing for you guys. Another group too.
So initially we want to get past this.
Yeah.
We want to get in.
For later,
When we get in, then the
Yeah.
possibilities can be limitless upon staying within the agreement. One of the things we want to stay in agreement. We want to make sure that the community knows that we haven't been and altered, went this way and went this way. We want to present and do what we say we want to do.
Towards that end, I think it may be appropriate, given what you're describing, given the nature of your work, for us to propose an MOU, a memorandum of agreement that we would sign. And if portions of that are going to change, for example, if you
were to get a licensing to dispense medication, I think that would be something that would need to be brought to the community before any changes could be made, and maybe this is something we can discuss. I'm not sure what the timeline is right now, we'll be hearing you tomorrow, but there are probably a few parameters that we could probably be comfortable with, as long as we understand that if those parameters are going to change, we would need to be involved in that discussion.
So we don't intend to dispense methadone, so we're not going for that license. We continue as a private practice. There may be some services that we'd like to add in terms of training. We talked about GED and providing CDLs, but if those can be included, that would be appreciated. But as far as dispensing medication at the centers, our license is
that was just an example, but if there are aspects, particularly as they relate to the facility that you're looking at right now on Greenbelt, if there are things about those services that would change, I think that would be something where we would want to revisit the discussion.
The other thing about an MOU that would potentially be helpful is, I'm so small. The other piece is, for instance, if there was, again, I don't know if it's changed, but if doing apartment only, so this may not be relevant, but if we needed to agree on hours of opening, or, if there were things that the community was concerned about, like we wanted to have security, those kinds of things, we put them in amazing. And then it is part of the conditions for the conditional use, okay? So that if there are changes, they have to be negotiated, but in order to keep that conditional use. And so, yes, the hearing's tomorrow, but if there's interest in doing this, the applicant can ask for a postponement for a couple of weeks, and then we can get it back on the docket fairly quickly if that's something you're interested in doing. Okay. So, that way we can start with the template that we did with the caring hands. I think that worked out pretty well, and then see if there's anything else, and that way you have more time to get to know each other and things like that. And I'm grateful that you're willing to postpone a couple weeks, because then we can actually, I think, do a good job of making it done.
We have an MOU with Mimi's Liquors. When they had a new owner, we haven't leaned on it or anything, but it's just a general agreement. If you're going to own this store, you need to maintain these practices. So this is not, we are not opposed to this type of facility. We're not saying we don't want this facility in our neighborhood. There's none of that. It's really just we want to make sure that as the facility itself establishes itself in the neighborhood and grows, because obviously all of these things are going to grow and change as the population and the clients themselves change. We just want to make sure that we're an ongoing part of what that change looks like.
Great, okay. So, the postpone for tomorrow, put it back on in a couple weeks. I think that'll be enough time. I think, because we'll have to make sure that we have to.
Yeah, and out of respect for you, yes, we would move very quickly, minimize, friction on this. But I think we can certainly come back with a consensus from the board that I think hopefully is trusted enough by the community that we can make sure that we're acting in the community's best interests.
And you won't have to repost the property, just, that expense you don't have to worry about.
And if there are people like yourself, others who have experience in this, knowledge in this, that would like looped into the MOU process, absolutely. We're all for that. And you were going to...
Sure, yeah. I just have one more thought process. Going forward, I'm glad to hear that that no one wants mental illness not to be dealt with. I think that's very fair across the board. But I'm really wondering, as a new program in all of our communities, mine and Harwood, would you be able to offer anything for particularly like teenage trauma, young children? That's the really critical needs of a lot of behavioral sciences. I know we think of people who are addicted, and that's fine. But at the moment, there's a dearth of offerings for group for children, for young teenagers who are really troubled. And right now, Roberta House is the only, as far as I understand, the only non-profit in the city that's doing anything with teenagers and children between the ages of 8 and 15. And they're the most affected, and we don't watch them, we don't see them. That particular area that you have, and bear with me as I talk about Catholic community, sorry, that area has had like 2 shootings and 2 desperate fires in the last year. We've had like, what is it, 8 fires? No, sorry. We've had a lot of fires over the last few years. So there's a collective trauma that some of us are not aware of even. And I always ask new programs from the committee, could you please look into that's our need. You're bringing what you think is our need, which is great. You know, we might understand, but I'm voicing a need we have. All right, so even if it's just once a week, kids can come and draw out their feelings without it being school and without it being church. Because honestly, we serve for the Catholic Church and we close all the family churches in the city, so like that. And so, you know, we're hanging on you now. So that's just a cry from the heart right now from Better Lady. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job.
If there's anyone here who would like to be part of the conversation the board is having about what an MOU should include, we do have the MOU with Caring Hands. They've been a fantastic steward for the neighborhood. We have, no friction with them. And so just let me or one of the other board members know, several board members over there in the corner, and one or two scattered throughout the room as well. The Cardinal, here we go, look at this. On that note, just a couple more things to move through, if you don't mind. Sorry, my printer ran out of ink. It actually just stopped printing, and ink is so insanely expensive that I can't bring myself to buy more. A couple other items, worthwhile items. First of all, the Amy is doing a really fascinating project. I'm going to just say a quick word. He's looking for volunteers. I had a conversation with him about this the other day. It was fantastic. And so,
yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Aiden. I live on 28. So, in addition to being a Harwood resident, I am a graduate student at the City University of New York. These pretty old-based flyers. And I'm doing a research project. I'm doing a research project about Baltimore culture and language. So, sorry, I had some notes and I pulled my notes up. So the project is about Baltimore culture and language. I'm working with a couple students from local universities. We're collecting interviews with community members in this part of Baltimore mainly, Harwood, Able, Charles Village, the Waverlys, Barclay. So what the interviews entails is basically sort of an oral history type thing. We're asking people about their life experiences, their life history living in Baltimore, how they feel about the city, how they feel about their neighborhoods, and their attitudes about language in Baltimore. In terms of who we're looking for participants, we're looking for people who grew up in Baltimore and live in the city. People, adults and teenagers, people aged 13 and up. Participation in the interview will take like an hour to an hour and a half. And you'll get $20 for your time. And yeah, that's about it. I'll also give a shout out to the Enoch Crabtree Free Library, which has a free print day up to 20 pages a day. Thank you. Yes.
What are you going to use the information for?
So that's a great question. There's a few things. So primarily this is for my dissertation research. I'm getting my PhD in linguistics. So one is for research. Then I also have a few partnerships. The one, I'm partnered with the Peel Museum in Baltimore, it's Baltimore's Community Museum. They collect oral histories. So for people who volunteer to share their interviews with the Peel, I'm constructing oral History Archive at the Peel, and then we've also partnered with a national project called the Corpus of Regional African American Language. This is a project that collects interviews with Black speakers from across the country, which has the research goal of increasing our knowledge about regional variation in African American speech. And then this corpus is also used in developing like speech technologies. Like for example, they license this data to like Apple so that Siri is better at understanding Black speakers, for example. So those are the other partnerships involving the research. But yeah. Any other questions? Thank you all.
Zach, I have 2 items. Zach's going to talk about a project he works with that's I think really important, and then one of his colleagues will also be coming to talk about another really great mutual aid process we have active here in Baltimore. Then we'll be jumping over to Taylor. Better way to play project.
So because my colleague here from the Waverly Community Group has been so patient listening to our whole community meeting, I'm going to start with them. This is LX. I asked them to come here and they were very gracious and decided to come and talk to us a little bit about the Waverly Community Bridge at Emma's. This is something that I think, kind of works well with the garden and the fact that we've got sort of the farm stand touch there that we put produce into, we put dry goods into, community bridge and as a place for perishable foods. So I just kind of want to make sure people are aware of that. If you're putting food in the farm stands, you can also put things at the fridge. And if you're taking food out of the farm stand, you can also take it out of the fridge. So I'll turn it over to you, Alex.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. Hi, my name is Alex. I use they them pronouns. So for the past 4 months or so, January of this year, we've been working on a Waverly Community Bridge at Emma's. We've just been organizing around that. Like what you want, what you can sort of model. We just maintain it weekly, every other day, we can, every day if possible, but we're chronically underemployed, so, but yeah, we're gonna try to get things rolling. We're also not the only community bridge in the area. I think one that was on hiatus for a few years just started back up again. That's on McAllister and Greenmount, I believe. Brand new one in Hamilton, Falls Road, they're popping up everywhere now, so very grateful for that. And also, if you want to leave any food items, meals, people love juice, they love the apple juice that comes through. Let's see, also any like Uncrustables, maybe sandwiches, leftovers in restaurants, that sort of thing, as long as it's not expired or wrong. Any other thing like that is welcome. If you're already doing meal planning, that's a great way to get involved in the project that we're trying to do. So, yeah, that's all I got. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to take those. Let's finish the book.
Thanks so much, Alex. Also, I think, did you get some pamphlets or they're over there. There's some flyers over there on the bridge. You can learn more about it. Certainly, I live alone and sometimes make like an enormous lentil salad, and I can immediately split that into what I want to eat and what I would like to give away so I don't get enormously sick of it. Not it's there for that among many others. The other thing I wanted to talk about today, so first off, a little bit of introduction here. I'm the co-chair of the association's mutual aid committee. Kiana's been working with me on that as well. Basically, there's been expression over the years in the community association for interest in mutual aid, in community resources. I like to think of it through this entity as just a way each other, how we feel help each other out, when people, have a need or have the capacity to help out a neighbor. With that said, one group that I do work with is Baltimore Jail Support, and I know, again, this is basically bringing this to the group because there was interest in places to do mutual aid, volunteer opportunities that people are interested in. Baltimore Jail Support is a group that's been around since 2016. We're out in front of Central Booking Wednesday, Friday, and next Sunday. About 3 to 4 hours of time, depending on the day. And we're basically just out with a folding table. We've got coffee and tea and snacks. Give people a cigarette if they want one, call them apart, they need a ride home. People are let out of Central Booking without any sort of resources. They don't, they've been arrested somewhere in the city, they've ended up in Central Booking. In the winter, they're let out in t-shirts, very far from home. So we're just there to, sort of help out with some very basic services for people getting out. I've left some literature over there about jail support. There's both a little fact sheet with all of our social media stuff on it. There's also a QR code on a laminated sheet out there that you can scan if you want to sign out a little form saying you're interested in volunteering. I also brought some of our, because again, we do just provide all sorts of little resources. I also brought some of our things, which is one, these cards, which are Know Your Rights cards. If you want to take some of those, hand them out, which if you are being questioned by the police or being detained by the police, for you to know your rights, for people to know their rights. There are also these sheets, which are about if you believe or are being questioned by ICE. These are organizations you can contact about specialization in dealing with those sorts of government agencies. You can call them if you think someone in your neighborhood or yourself are being detained by ICE. Anyways, that was pretty much it. The last thing, there is a bowl and there are white pieces of paper in front of it, because of course there's all sorts of things that I think we can do for each other as neighbors. If you have thank you, Mara, for being my demonstrator there. If you have any thoughts or ideas or comments or questions about what you'd like to see, and this doesn't have to be around mutual aid or community resources, stuff you'd like the community association to be doing, things you'd like to see, please fill one of those out. Drop it in the bowl. You can also come up to any member of the board, myself, anyone else, and share your ideas and thoughts. I know there are people who sort of signed up to be volunteers around the mutual aid committee. We're still trying to figure out what we have capacity to do. What my thought, frankly, is how this association can really serve as a clearinghouse for other services that exist in the city already. So the neighbors know that if they're having problems with evictions, if they're having legal problems, whatever else, they can come to the community association and we can help them find the services that already exist. We don't need to keep reinventing the wheel, we can kind of help people find those things. And I think that was all my stuff. So back to you guys.
Thanks, Doug. I will say one of the great things about having the community fridge on the Bredemas, if folks ask you for money and you do not have money, or you're concerned that they will spend the money on things that are not food, and you're okay with providing them with support for food, you can always direct them to the community fridge if they genuinely need food. We have somebody from Better Waverly Projects, correct, Taylor? Taylor Maples. Okay. We do not have somebody from the Better Waverly Project, okay? But we do have Mara, who will be providing a brief update for NBC, and then we'll be jumping over to our esteemed Councilwoman Deb Ramos for a general conversation.
Hi everybody, my name is Mara. I'm a neighbor on the 28th block of Harwood, and I also am a staff member at the Neighborhood Design Center. And I will be your point person for a conceptual or imaginative redesign of the 27th Street Park. Does anybody here live adjacent to that, like on 27th Street or near the park? Great. You're the folks I want to talk to. So we'll be doing like an engagement process this summer. Right now we're recruiting architect and landscape architect volunteers. So this program is state funded. We work with volunteer designers in about a 3-month process to redesign public spaces. So for the 147 Harwood Street Park is one of these. So you'll be hearing from me at future community association meetings.
I didn't get his laugh.
I would love, mostly what I'm going to be doing is canvassing, doing fishing sessions. If you live adjacent to the park and you want to have a say in that, I want to make sure I get your contact. And if you want to participate in this and feel like you might be a steward of the park moving forward, I really want to hear from you and get your involvement in that. Or if you have a history with the park. You used to use it, but you don't anymore. I want to know why. My background is in planning and murals and public art, so that's kind of what I'm bringing to it. Again, my name is Mara, so look out for more info about this, door knocking, and some information about upcoming meetings. And I'll go some time out.
Odette has updates also. There's 2 points that you may want to weigh in on, some things that have come up as you've seen in the chatter topic of dumping, which always been great about giving guidance and advice on how to handle that. So if you could make sure you touch on that. And also the topic of fireworks has also been quite lively on the WhatsApp chatter. So those are 2 of the items that we have that we've been talking about a lot, and I think they work better in a social setting along these lines rather than on the, we don't want our WhatsApp to turn into nextdoor.com. And so keeping that here where we can see each other face to face is important. Thank you, Odette.
Good evening again, everyone. I'm sorry that I've missed the last couple of meetings, but now that your meetings are first, it's so much better. A couple of things. First, some good news. The Baltimore Book Festival is in our community again, in the Waverly community again. It's forever and always, by the way. Just count on it. Count on it in September. This year, it's September 12th and 13th. You'll start to see more marketing around that. We did it for the first time up in the Waverly area last year and making some adjustments, but it will be forever and always up in our area. So I'm really excited about that. It's a really big deal, yes.
Could we have somebody who's one of the organizers table about that at our block party?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll make it happen. Thanks. It's a great idea.
Sorry, where do we contact people who volunteer for that?
So Waverly Main Street will be the, BOPA is not involved this year. Such a disaster. So Waverly Main Street, Red Emma's and City Lit that are working with all the bookstores in the area. I represent the most bookstores in the city, so it makes sense that I have the book festival in my district. So they're going to start to put stuff up on the website for volunteers and things like that. We love volunteers. It'll be really great. Other good news, there's lots of music in our district in this area. So Waverly Music Series up at the Waverly Commons on Thursday afternoon, evenings-ish, for the next few weeks. And then of course there's always music here. So good music everywhere. It's really great. We've already touched on the DOT stuff and the CSX stuff that I wanted to touch on. I just also want to say the tree planting has gone great. I'm really excited about that too. So the BPD on the fireworks piece and some of the other things that are happening in the neighborhood. We have a new major. She wasn't able to make it this evening. Her name is Major Kiara Saunders. She's from the Northern District. She actually came up through Northern District and she knows the district like the back of her hand. She's also been a major in Southeast and also Northwest. So she comes back to us with a lot of experience. I'm really excited. She's a total badass. She's really great. So she wasn't able to make it tonight, but she'll make it to your next meeting. The best way to continue to, in addition to 911, is to just email northern@baltimorepolice.org, and then they'll all get the information. So the couple years ago, we had a lot of concerns about some activity on 27th and Barclay, and I think it crops up every summer. So, it's important to dial 911, but also if you can figure out exactly where the addresses are that this is happening, send it to me so I can try to talk with the owner of the property. And then also the fireworks issue. We have a lot of fireworks on Barclay and 32nd in that big parking lot where the market is all the time. So I'm hearing that there's also fireworks happening on 27th. Yeah.
Good. I'm just confused why it's happening in the daytime. Do we know why?
There's fireworks on fire.
Sure, there's like corn farming.
No, it's mostly around the noise, I think.
Okay,
It's the fourth thing.
just kind of dumb curiosity.
Yeah, it's about the noise, it's about disrupting. But those are, what Major Saunders has kept saying to people is sometimes you use, if it's not a non-emergency, you do 311, 911 for everything for her, because that's important for her in terms of documenting some of the challenges that we're having. Obviously, we don't want to call police all the time on people, but if it continues to be a nuisance, then that's an issue. A lot of the fireworks that we're hearing, are the illegal ones anyway, right? They're getting fireworks, they're getting back. So, and as July 4th comes around, there'll be more others. But, obviously, I'd be interested to know a little bit more about what it is for the day, because I'm not talking about so before we start a police response, I can certainly do that. But we had some problems around like a lot of loud music and like partying on that corner, and that's where, she said that she would come here this meeting to meet her, and her staff, and so, maybe that'll be a good partnership. This neighborhood changed a lot, so she's getting even further, so I think that, the dumping, it's so frustrating, is that right there behind Guilford is the main issue, and it's just such a hidden spot, right, that, it's so easy to do. Just keep calling 311, reporting, illegal dumping, to get a faster response, actually, you better report a dirty alley. Because what happens is that they'll just come and clean it. With an illegal dumping, there has to be an inspector that comes out and says, yeah, we're illegal dumping, they go through it to see who it is, and then they call in a reporter to clean it up. So if the goal is to just get it clean, dirty alley. So that 301 for dirty alley. Now I'd like to try to figure out how to make that area not so hidden. If you can figure out when the dumping is occurring, if it's at night, do we do better lighting? Benefits District used to have a camera program that I think they're talking about again. So we can do it, and the city has a very robust camera program for illegal dumping, so that might be something that we can do. Because it's basically a deterrent. If you have a camera there and a big sign that says, camera, and that helps a lot. So, but if anybody's got camera footage, you've got cameras in the back, like your own cameras, you've got camera footage, let us know. But if you want to explore the city's camera, they've been doing that in dumping hotspots.
So, I'm at Barclay, and we have a huge problem. I'm on Barclay, we're on Barclay. We have a huge problem with them dumping right where it's like a perpendicular intersection where the back of Lorraine and Barclay meet. And I have seen them come out, and they will only take, like there'll be trash right here on the Lorraine side and trash on the Barclay side, and it'll only take what's on the Lorraine or the Barclay side, and they're right next to each other.
That's so weird.
I have seen them come out, and they'll be trash in the recycling bins. They won't dump them because even though it's obviously trash, they'll say, oh, we don't take trash out of the recycling bins. When I call 311, that's what they tell me too. So I'll call in for dirty alley and explicitly state there is trash in the recycling bins. Please come and collect that. I have seen people in the middle of the day dump couches, and they have told me, oh, we thought it was legal to dump here because there's so much stuff that's here and it gets picked up all the time. I'm not lying. I have
No, people say that about the medians too. I have all the homestead medians, and people say that
see the people who chronically dump, and then sometimes you see people who haven't done it. I just wanted to stop.
Yeah,
I really
okay.
did. And I don't know what to do. I contacted the association later last week because I'm just fed up. But, you know, I'm
Barkley and
really
Lorraine,
hands
it's not just the.
So you really need a plan. I have a question of maybe, TH Street, 20th Street and Greenmount. There is a pothole that has been there for years. I pay a lot of taxes, and as anyone in here knows who drives, you pay for the tax, you pay for your insurance, you pay for your driver's license. And it has been there for years. I have brought it to Isaac's attention. Also, the 25th to Kirk Avenue is a roll-up. It is absolute, I ride it in the 25th from 25th to Fremont to Kirk Avenue. They did Kirk Avenue to Harwood, but they never came back and did the rest. And I'm literally driving through.
So yeah, the restrict part of it is a restrict,
right. And the pothole, they have a manhole, whatever you call it, right here, 28 and Fremont. And you either have to go this way, or you have to go that way to dump those big
it's so the manhole is kind of.
It's just something, yes. And I heard the gentleman over there speaking, and he didn't say anything about the repaving of the streets with the construction going on. I mean, is that going to happen afterwards? Now Barkley is up,
Right.
with the construction.
Yeah.
Are they gonna come back and repave and smooth that out?
Yeah, so BG, this is all BGE work, so BGE is supposed to come back and it sounds like they started on your block of Woodbridge already.
They put down the concrete, they're gonna come back and do the black top
Right,
over
so,
top. of the
but
concrete.
Barkley has a couple of spots that they have to go. The
Yeah.
law is not that they can leave it like this much, they have to do, 10 feet on each side. So
Yes.
they definitely need to repave it, and then Woodbridge, the bricks, they have to replace the bricks.
That's the 400.
Yeah, yeah.
I have two things.
Yeah.
On Woodbridge.
Yeah.
On 400 block of Woodbridge. One, the liquor store, I'm not sure if they own that house in that corner. Drug dealers. You don't live on our block, our people selling drugs in the block.
By the liquor store, so it's the house next door.
That in-house. The house is sitting out there, daytime, nighttime.
Okay.
I don't wanna have to deal with that this summer.
Right.
I don't have to.
Is that house vacant?
I believe it's vacant, yeah.
Okay. I don't know who's the owner of it, but that's.
Okay, I'll check it.
Every year. Then the bricks.
Yeah, they have to replace the bricks.
I personally purchased that house.
I know, because it's such a great street, there's like 5 of them in Baltimore City, and Woodbridge is one of them, so, yeah, no, that's right. Now, I'm not sure if it's gonna be totally new brick, or if they're bringing back what they took.
They're gonna redo the sidewalks.
They have to redo the sidewalks, especially where they did surface, so right now where there's asphalt, they have to redo all of that.
Okay, so they dug in front of my house, you tell me. I couldn't even get out for the birthday day. I said, God,
They're supposed to, yeah.
I'm on the,
BGE is such a mess.
talk to me afterwards, I'm on the 300 block and I've had some conversations with them. So I can tell you what they told me about what they're doing.
Yeah, they're supposed to,
At
they're
least as
waiting
far
for
as-
everybody to get the service line connected to the new main, and then they have to do the sidewalk.
yeah, they did my house, they did inside the house. 3 days later, the outside, someone else's house. They come knock on my door and tell me you're gonna dig in front of my house.
Yeah. BGE is a total
That's what they're there
mess.
for.
They make me crazy all the time. So, yeah, once we get a timeline on how that's, happening, then we'll let everybody know. Yeah, but, and then I'm gonna check in on that house, the base property
Right
there.
across from Cook, that house is next.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly where you are, okay. Yeah, I haven't done the research on that, I had said in another meeting, I haven't done it yet. So big issue that I work on is dealing with vacant properties, but I want to do my own housing study of the neighborhood, so I know kind of what's happening with vacants, older adults, etc. So I'm waiting for some interns in my office to help, and then we'll work together on getting a date for that as well. Somebody here have a question? Okay.
Actually, just kind of following up on this Whitbridge construction, I'm actually more giving voice to something that our neighbor David we just talked about. Actually, you're on the 300 block, David? Or we next to, right?
Yeah, 300.
And apparently BGE told him that the city is responsible for redoing the sidewalks. And then considering the fact that the city will turn around and say that actually homeowners are responsible for the sidewalk.
No, homeowners are not responsible
But not for BGE's work. And I just wanted to give voice to that. No, I'm saying that like if we let BGE send us to the city will be like, your sidewalks is crappy, you're actually supposed to fix that. But apparently BGE talked to BGE and they said no, that's not their responsibility. So if we can keep an eye on that and really kind of stay on top of them.
Make sure that there's an email chain with the main email so that we can make that happen. Now, what the city is doing, typically, not in BGE case, but typically if there's a sidewalk issue, it's the homeowner's responsibility, because our responsibility as homeowners is from curb to the middle of the alley. But I think what they would do is they would bill you and they'll bill you for half. It is lienable, unfortunately, so it's not like a bill. They actually put on your taxes. But they're not doing that as much anymore because a lot of the damage to our sidewalks have been trees, and they have been city trees. And so if it's a city tree issue, the city will pay for that rebate, okay? Because that's an ADA issue because of the compliance that we have to show with the ADA. Okay? Yeah.
And can we report that on 311? Because I'm on that 300 block of Whitbridge too, and you can see where they've like spray painted, like we are gonna replace these bricks of pavement, but like so much is like this from the sycamores on that block, and so I'm worried that's gonna get like flatter, but also be sort of a mess because so much of the sidewalk walk is really torn up on that block.
Is it because of BGE or just in general?
Because of the trees, and then also,
So what would be helpful is to get the 311s, and then I'll send it to the ADA person.
Okay.
So it sounds like we need to have a bridge conversation with 300 to 400 blocks. Really anybody. You 311 it as a sidewalk issue and then add to the notes that there's a tree. Then send it to my office, odette.ramos@baltimorecity.gov, so that we get it as a part of the ADA compliance. Okay? So I don't want you paying for the sidewalk. That's out there. Yes.
I'd like to go back to dumping for a second. So there's an ongoing intermittent issue with the odd side of the 2700 block of Greenmount behind those dilapidated buildings, the one that's labeled Waverly Fish Market and such. Someone keeps dumping back there. I noticed somebody pull up and look around when I was working out there and leave immediately when they noticed I was watching. So no dumping occurred, but today when I got back from work, there's more stuff there. So I don't know. I think we just need more eyes on that, but I keep reporting it, so I'm trying.
So those three properties on the 2700 block of Greenmount are like the biggest frustration aside from BGE that I have right now. And originally those were supposed to be demolished, and I had reported in this meeting several months ago that they would be demolished. What ended up happening was when the city wants to demolish a property, if it's not an emergency, they have to do what's called due diligence. So they have to go to the owner and say, hey, we're about to demolish this property, you have a right to contest, etc. So the owners ended up contesting. At the same time, we took them to court through what's called receivership. So through that, the board has monitored their progress towards plans and all that to try to rehab them. I do not trust these people, okay? I don't trust them at all. I have a buyer who wants to buy those properties that I think will help. So we're This actually works.
Because dumping is allowed now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that I've done successfully like 3 times where I say to the city, well, I'm gonna go mow it myself, the next day it's done. Right?
Great strategy.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating, I'm very upset about it. But yeah, just keep calling it in, because that's, how, and then, but I think in these other 2 that are so obvious in the neighborhood, I wanna make sure that we're thinking about the camera option, for sure. Yes.
Oh, and I forgot to say thank you, and thank you staff for helping me to get my 80-year-old sister into daycare. They helped get her a voucher.
Oh,
So
good.
thank you.
Yes, Linda in my office is dedicated to those kinds of issues, so thank you. I'm so glad we were able to help her.
Yeah, she's been in for a week and a half.
Good,
Yes.
excellent, I'm so glad. I'm glad it's a relief, actually. Thank you for telling me, that's a relief. Anything else that I can, yes?
I realize that at this point we're kind of itemizing this, but just to tack it on to everything else, we do have some nascent dumping, unfortunately, between 27th, 300 block of 27th and Lorraine. The only thing is, the only reason I'm kind of bringing it up, we've been okay cleaning it up and through and wanting it, but it's bulkier and bulkier and bulkier stuff, and the truck's not coming through.
Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is there's more than 3 spots, there's a lot more spots, is, I think I need to bring in the solid waste folks and the folks just to be able to get a plan, for whether it's cameras or something, so.
Also, I'm assuming you also saw this too with, Jamie Lee at the corner of 27th and Barclay, is gonna have an issue with people on the loader, that's leaving loader oil containers.
Yes.
On the corner of 27th.
Yes, let me go over this.
She has reached out to, I put her in contact with Steve, also from,
Yeah.
they haven't apparently moving that always in the trash can, anyways, but that was, yeah.
Okay.
I got, yeah, reach out to you.
Okay.
Thanks to everybody who's here.
Thank you.
It's 8 o'clock. We don't want to keep you guys longer. If you do have a few minutes, come by, talk to me. If you have other issues you want to get covered, a couple follow-up things. We're here. We'll be packing up. I still haven't had my 3rd beer, so.